As all eyes narrow down today, hoping that the ban list comes, I kind of want to take a look at like some of the like little safer things that you can probably pick up. And this video probably won't last more than 2 hours until a list drops. But let's go talk about some safe zones, shall we? Don't be like the 33.4% of you guys not smash the living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so we can get to 100K. I promise you that number has been fluctuating. Actually dropped down one and then went up. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. So, ban list anticipation. All eyes are on the format here. And everybody's like, what do? So, it's kind of want to talk about, like, the potential, because remember, you know, if we are focusing on getting a list this week, if not today, you guys have to kind of remember that the next big warping point is Adventurer, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news to tell you guys this, but that engine warps the entire premise of the game. An Omni Negate, a token generation, a free bounce back engine that you can splash. Oh, and it's also a free discard engine for our dear friends, you know, the whole Shade Brigade army. So Phantom Knights get a huge boost out of this. I mean, what if Phantom Knights aren't the best variant with this? The fact that this engine exists begins the perception of warping here. And then later on down the line here, you're like, oh, agents come along. Agents don't really do anything. April comes around here, you get punched in the face with the next warp, which is Branded Fusion. And then you're sitting here, you're like, oh man, you know, we want to see a ban list, but people, there are stepping stones to the formats that are very clear warping points. And truthfully, between the punch in the face for what's going on here with kind of setting things up with the full anticipation for, you know, what's to come here, you gotta ask yourself, all right, so what rogue decks can we kind of take a look at here? What are our safe points here? Because, you know, I can't touch Branded until April here. And then you're like, all right, well, at that point in time, what do I do, Robbie? So you can take a look at Eldritch here. Let's be honest here at this point in time. I think Eldritch will always just be one of those, like, kind of tier 2 forerunners for a little while, because no matter what it seems to happen, the deck will always kind of rummage through the lower tables and will always kind of be one of those decks that I think players will just kind of look at and go, oh, wow, you're still playing that, ladies and gentlemen? I think for the most part here that players are just going to say the same thing here. Eldritch is a pretty safe call. Now, the thing that I always kind of take a look at with Invoked here is, I mean, how long has Invoke been a safe pick, ladies and gentlemen? Invoke's been out for 3-4 years now at this point. Has it really been that long, actually? Winda and Company, I mean, I remember making a video, it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, where people were like, no, ban Winda! And now we just kind of look at Winda and we're like, okay, Destroy Phoenix Enforcer exists now. You have a deck like fucking Flundereese out here that exists. Alright, that deck's entire purging existence is just normal summon turbo. We had a feature match on here a little while ago where you got to watch, oh wow, the Invoked player made Winda. I can't believe this. Alright, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's a thing, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, well, you make Winda, and then the Flundereese player just comes in and destroys what was that hard to build board. All right, so honestly, I really think that Flundereese going forward here. So remember, we do get Journey in Battles of Chaos in what, like 3-ish weeks, if that, and then you're gonna have to go, oh, all right, so Journey does make that deck a very, very scary monster, right? If you're somebody that's sitting in the back of the room with your arms crossed going, I don't have to deal with Flundereese, I have really bad news for you. Up until the release of Branded Fusion, that deck is going to be one of the scariest rogue decks that you're going to have to deal with running around here. Alright, and if you're somebody that's like, kind of like focusing on, you're like, oh, alright, so, Flundereese, is it worth picking up? Honestly, I mean, unless Journey is like some crazy secret rare out here, I think it is, ladies and gentlemen. Flundereese has been a very, very cheap pickup for a lot of players out here, and a lot of people have already got in on the base level floor out here, and it has been absolutely one of the cheapest experiences out here. Now, on the meta things, well, I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, but we got to go back to that adventure thing. So, remember at the beginning of the video we talked about the fact that this engine warps things. Well, there's also an Adventurer Salamangreat theory that was kind of coming up in the OCG. Lund was also telling me that it's actually not too bad of a deck here in the TCG from testing. We'll kind of have to wait and see how that goes, because I'm not a salad expert or anything, but I feel like that's just kind of a lot of things moving in the same pile of cards that you kind of just got to ask yourself, is this kind of worth the dedicated engine? Like, will this be successful? And I mean, if we can actually go that far in splashing the Brave engine into things besides Phantom Knights, besides Eldritch, besides, oh yeah, Praying Kids. Didn't the whole Praying Kids core just get very cheap and affordable thanks to Maximum Gold? Huh. Doesn't that mean that players can pick up a very nice potential deck? Oh, but yet you have to pick up the Brave engine for it. I mean, I understand. So cool thing is, not only can you play this engine in everything else, ladies and gentlemen, you got a very cheap main deck core that you could pick up. You just got to kind of go put out a chunk of money for the Adventure engine. So, moral of this video is just, it just sounds like I'm shilling out here and going, buy your Adventure engine. And I mean, really, like, the engine does do that much. All right. In terms of like the lower moving pieces across the board here in anticipation for the list, I mean, how much of a change can we honestly expect out of this list? How much of a devastating effect can we really have? Because I'd like to see Recital Starling, some sort of hit to the bird strategy would be absolutely wonderful. I'd like to see a possible check to, you know, Sword Soul. But more so than anything, with the Adventure engine literally coming legal here in X amount of time, you've got to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, well, do we need to do something on a preemptive hit? You've heard the player base talking about Scythe and or Dagda for so long here, and I think the reality of the situation is going to hit a lot of players hard here. If you're going to have to deal with Dagda / Scythe for the next format, and you thought that this format was absolutely intoxicating, oh boy, I have really bad news for you as we go forward here, because watching those Brave Adventure tokens spawn on the field as you're just staring at your opponent, crying the entire time, yeah, it's not going to be a fun time. So, good news is there's plenty of things that you can focus on right now. All right, whatever this list does in terms of things, the Adventure engine will be untouched. All right, they're not going to hit Praying Kids again on this list. There's no way that they're going to hit Eldritch on this list. There's no reason for them to hit things like that on this list. All right, the best baseline thing that could happen here would be some sort of hit to Dagda Scythe / Phantom Knights as a preemptive hit to kind of base the ground for that. Outside of that, Adventurer format's coming, and I hope you guys are ready to be the best adventurers that you can. And then Flundereeze. I always like how we always have all these decks over here. It's like, oh, these decks all do this. And then there's Flundereeze over here. It's just like, caca! And like, Journey! And then your opponent's like, yay, I died to M-Pen. What do I do? Alright, and the answer is just get good, Fivehead. Just draw the out to the M-Pen. Just draw the out, alright? You have Dark Roll no more, Lightning Storm. Alright, don't be that guy that loses to the M-Pen strategy out here. Just be better than them, Fivehead. I can't wait to be making a video in a couple of weeks just from players going, no, M-Pen is busted! This shit's ridiculous! Ah! Oh, the player base will be doing that at some point here. They'll be screaming off. Man, I just love the fact that we can see what's going on in the future here. So, are you guys ready for adventure time? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Is there anything that I might have missed on the precursor here that could lead us up to a potential good point here that the ban list might dodge? I mean, we always have the question at the end of these videos where you're like, all right, well, should I go play the penny stock? What if Sword Soul doesn't get hit? Well, I mean, the prices go up. It's just how it works, ladies and gentlemen. You can play stupid games, get stupid prizes, and you can be rewarded for it. We've seen this happen countless times, all right? Decks will dodge list, all right? And players are like, oh, why does Mo eat $50 a week later? And you're like, well, maybe dodge the ban list, George. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. All right. You've seen enough of these trends on this channel to kind of understand what's going to happen here. So whatever decision you choose to make today, we'll see how the ban list impacts it. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later, and there's some more Koalas content. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.